A lot of fun. We are on the second leg of the show. We're slightly calmer. I filled in for Eliza Schlesinger, and me and her have different fan bases. So there was a lot of hot chicks in the show with the boots up on the stage. But it was a great set. They were a fun audience, and I'm thankful that I was, thanks for putting me in, coach. A lot of fun. Some of the women, chatted during my set, but I get it. If you come to see her and you get me, it's a little bit of a culture shock. I get it. She's very successful. I met her once, and we had a little bit of it was like, it wasn't great. Our meeting. It wasn't phenomenal. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to start airing, whatever. It wasn't anything memorable. She wouldn't remember me. It's just like, people said to me, they're like, do you have any opinion on the Pete Davidson Louis thing? And, and Pete special, he described it. I'm like, yeah, I have an opinion on it. They're both millionaires and I'm not. So I'll stay out of it and I'll let them handle it. And I'll ask them to buy me a donut. That's my position. What's your position on the Louis Day? What? I don't know either. What are you talking about? They're both doing great. I got a studio here in an apartment. We're trying to live, trying to survive. I gotta fucking decide which one of them I want to alienate. I support both of them. I agree with both of you, fine sirs. And if either one of you want to produce anything I'm doing, let's. Hillary Clinton is starting a podcast, and many people know my affinity for Hillary Clinton, and I don't even mean as a joke. I do respect.
Now, and his guardian is somewhere in the facility ahead.
You can't be a student of history and not have some level, I don't want to use the word affection, but you are in awe of certain people's abilities, even if they are murderers, even if they have sexual problems, as her husband seems to. But you look at a guy like that, who's a Rhodes Scholar, smart guy. The human brain is fascinating. Some of the most talented people in the world have things that are deeply wrong. Michael Jackson, maybe Woody Allen, I don't know. Maybe. Allegedly, brilliant people, insanely talented people, in certain cases, have real issues. Bill Clinton was an incredibly gifted political mind. Watch his speeches. Watch his ability. He would go into a room and make these, single mothers think he gave a fuck. And he wanted to fuck. He didn't give a fuck. He wanted to fuck. It's an amazing skill set, and there's very few people that I've seen have things that approximate that skill set up close. Some people are magic. I've met a few people that are magic, have those parts. Gerard Carmichael, comedian, producer, has a quality of magic where when you're talking to him, you feel like you're the only person he's talking to, thinking about. He's he makes you feel very good. Now, he's a good guy. I'm not saying that this is not, who he is, but I'm also saying that, like, it's a skill. It's a skill. Some of these people are great salesmen. Some of them are great politicians. None of the words, the word salesman makes you think of somebody like me. It doesn't make you. What I'm trying to describe is hard to really put into words because it's a magical quality that certain people have, star power, whatever you want to say. It's infectious. You want them to like you. You trust them. Hillary Clinton did not have anything. She didn't have it. Her husband had it. Hillary has a lot of other qualities. She's a great deal maker. She's a great behind-the-scenes operator. She's, a tough bitch. She knows how to, string up a noose. Metaphorically. But Clinton was elected the governor of Arkansas. He went to, where did he go? Georgetown, Yale, Harvard, Oxford. Yale, Oxford, Georgetown. His mentors are a guy named Carol Quigley, who wrote a book called Tragedy and Hope, which is this huge, epic history of the world in our time. Talks about, the Eastern establishment, the Anglo-American empire, everything. It's really a history of everything. People have put it, as a, it's like they've said the genre is, conspiracy literature, but it's really, it's much more than that. It's really an amazing compendium of all of these councils and all of these groups of people that have shaped the world. And that was Clinton's mentor. And Clinton was elected to governor of Arkansas, I believe, at 31. He was like a boy governor. He was a young governor. Right about the time the CIA was flying, planes full of coke in Mena, Arkansas, dropping off that so that we could put it into inner cities and fund the Contras. It was, there's so much evidence of it. And Clinton was, like, hey, kept his mouth shut. There were two boys who were hanging out down by where one of those drops was happening. And I think their name were like Kevin, Lyles, Don, something. I don't know. The Boys on the Tracks was the documentary about it or the film about it. And they were somewhere in this secret airfield or wherever where they had witnessed something they should not have witnessed. And then, like many young teens do, they ended up smoking marijuana and falling asleep on the train tracks. Well, I've smoked a lot of weed and I've never fallen asleep on the train tracks, but this is the story. You have their names?
Don Henry and Kevin Ives.
Yeah, Kevin Ives and Don Henry. And they ended up, falling asleep on the train tracks and getting killed. Nobody bought this. But, they witnessed something they shouldn't have witnessed. This is when, and is Clinton the governor at this time? I'm pretty sure he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Clinton's the governor of Arkansas during this time. So again, this is, his bona fides are established here. He then is mentored.
Not easy to find an opponent.
Then he ends up at like the Bilderberg Conference. Again, as the governor of Arkansas. What does the state of Arkansas have to say about international finance? Not much. But he ends up there, and then he ends up getting elected to the presidency twice, defeating George H.W. Bush, friend of the show. We've done many episodes on him, many episodes on the Bush family. Don't worry about them; they get it popping, Yeah, there's no shrinking violets over there. They're deeply connected, much deeper than the Clintons. The Clintons were like trash, in the sense that they were, being. But the people that make the Clintons, like, and I do it too as a joke, you make them like into a boogeyman. They're not running the show. They're amoral people. That is why I do it, because I want you to know how amoral your leaders are. But when it comes, the Bushes were deeply connected to the intelligence apparatus, deeply. But Hillary is now starting a podcast, my friend Hillary. I mean, I don't want to do a million hack jokes about her podcast. It's just, here's what I will say. How far the mighty have fallen. How far the mighty have fallen. From the world stage. From murdering Vince Foster. From arranging the suicides of many of your Secret Service people. From the Clinton Global Initiative laundering dark money from all over the world. From the Epsteins, from the islands, from Little St. James, to reading an ad for bleach. How the mighty have fallen. It comes for all of us at the end, doesn't it, folks? I talked about it earlier in the show. I watched a little bit of CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. I want to say this, and I want to be clear. Whether you are a young college kid at CPAC in khakis and a blue blazer, or you're in skinny jeans at a Brooklyn DSA meeting, if you are actively involved in politics when you're young, you are a closeted homosexual. That is it. If you and a bunch of other men are going into hotel rooms to debate each other, stop it! You're wrong! You want to suck their cock. I get it. I did it. I was on the debate team. I get a bunch of dudes in suits walking around a hotel showing off their brains. Their big, hard brains. I get it. That might not be all of you, but the amount of hot sex going on at CPAC right now, the amount of people taking balls to the chin after listening to Kimberly Guilfoyle Newsom, that con artist. Remember her? I mean, you gotta respect the level of grifter and con artist that's in CPAC. She was engaged. She was like married to Gavin Newsom, who ran San Francisco. He was was he the governor of California? He's the governor of California now. And now she's dating Donald Trump Jr. And then the pit stop between those two was Fox News. God love her. God love her. Because there's a version of her in Tampa getting railed out by a failed real estate developer doing lines of coke on her waterfront property that's really 3 blocks from the beach. But she fucked her way into the White House-ish. But good for her. These con artists and the Democrats are in. I mean, if you're in a political conference, what are you doing? Didn't you hear what I just said about Mena, Arkansas? And you think anything Mercedes Schlapp is saying? Google Mercedes Schlapp. Who's this? Who's this broad? She's getting up in front of a conference room. Socialism's bad. It's an honor to die.
You want to know who she is?
I'd love to know who she is. So I can hate on her.
She's an American lobbyist and columnist.
Oh, great.
She served as White House Director of Strategic Communications in the Trump administration. Since July 2019, she has worked on the Trump 2020 re-election campaign.
These people, by and large, have nothing to say. The Republican Party has been devoid of anything. Listen, guys like Bill Kristol, these guys justified genocide, but at least they wrote books. Like, at least they knew how to speak. The clown car of grifters, liars, and thieves that has become the modern Republican Party is kind of hilarious. And, listen, not the Democratic Party, I don't have to say this, you have 9 people having a breakdown on the debate stage every night. And the CIA is, and the fucking billionaires send in Mike Bloomberg, who, has far less charisma than, Muammar Gaddafi. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy, he's trying to literally steal the election from people that are... Tom Steyer is criminally insane. And I support him. I'm a Steyer stan. But he just performed with Juvenile. He just does a rap thing with Juvenile. I think they were doing Back That Ass Up, which is a great song. But Tom Steyer's a billionaire. He's dancing on the stage. The country's a joke. It's a literal joke that you would pitch this show in a writer's room and get told to sober up. Nobody would believe this. These are billionaires that are bored, and they're getting out there and performing with rap. You go to CPAC, and you watch everybody fight it out. Everybody's talking about taxes, and they just want to suck each other's cocks. And why not? They find some drag queen who went into a library, and we're all at... By the way, not only have I never seen a drag queen in a library, I've never seen a library. Where are these libraries? Who's reading? Who are all these children being read? Who's reading? Where are the reading programs? I mean, I've already gone on record and said that it seems very forced and weird that drag queens are in libraries reading to kids. They're in weird costumes. They're not overtly sexual, but some of these dances they do are suggestive and strange. I'm like, what the fuck? I see this and I have a natural aversion to anything that's sexual. But it's also interesting that it's being portrayed as a national epidemic. That, like, it's just happening all over the place. And it's like, and a lot of it is because the economic policies don't work. And no one can get anything done in Washington because, like, it's just gridlock and nothing gets done. So you're just getting tax cut. They flood the market. They keep the interest rates low. They suppress them artificially. You know, I mean, it's just wages don't go up. Healthcare doesn't get fixed. Everything ends up costing more money. There's a certain amount of rage that people have. So you gotta, like, direct it at the real problems in the country. The drag queen in the library and Colin Kaepernick. Because that's what they're talking about at CPAC. Those are the big problems. Colin Kaepernick and the drag queens at the library are the reason that you went bankrupt 3 times because of a knee operation. It's like... And it's just the people that are at CPAC. And I'm not a model, but some of the people at CPAC, like the way they look, like the German anti-Greta, and I've said Greta is creepy and strange, and I think it's weird that Democrats have no problem throwing a 17-year-old girl into the ring with Donald Trump. I mean, it's barbaric. You shouldn't have kids making points. I don't care what David Hogg thinks. I don't care what Greta thinks. How dare you? Like, I don't want children. I don't need to be lectured to by children. And I think it's pretty fucked up to trot children out and let them just get attacked. But this girl looks, I mean, Naomi whatever?
Naomi Sia.
I mean, this one.
She describes herself as a climate realist. Has also had to deny she made remarks that could be seen as anti-Semitic following an attack on a synagogue last year.
I stand her. We stand her here now. I mean, I didn't know she was real. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know. She's like, what I've learned about climate is the jewel will come. Like, she's at CPAC. She's like, they're like waving her down. They're like giving her the light. They're like, it's time to go. You know, at the end of her speech, she's like, the jewel comes into your country and they start to manipulate the weather. And they're like, all right, give her a hand, everyone. Give her a hand. Thanks so much. Fun. Can you imagine going to a political conference? What type of loser do you have to be standing in a ballroom listening to these people speak? Any part. The same thing with the DSA people that are in Brooklyn with all that shit. They can't even afford a hotel. They could if their parents paid. But it's the same. It's like, listen, I'm not telling you not to help people, but this is not helping. None of this is helping. Showing up to the Gaylord Hotel, hilarious, which is such a trashy hotel. My friend Michael, we spoke about him earlier, was like, if you go to Dallas, you got to stay at the Gaylord Hotel. It's perfect. It's big. It's ready. It's grotesque. If you look at the Gaylord Hotel, they're grotesque.
I've been to it. It's trash.
It's trash.
They have a big ice sculpture thing you can see on Christmas.
Yeah, they have a river walk.
Yeah.
San Antonio has a river walk. Everyone in San Antonio is 450 pounds, okay? And they scoot down the river and they just eat churros, okay? And they don't share them with the birds. The birds in San Antonio are emaciated. They're about to die. The birds on the river are about to die because no one throws them any bread. There's not one carb that gets thrown to a bread at the San Antonio Riverwalk. So the Gaylord Hotel has a fucking Riverwalk. Like, I'm gonna walk around the Riverwalk. So it's like, and I listen, some of the kids that went to CPAC are friends with me on Instagram. Like one of these kids, I forget his name. He works for like Tucker Carlson's thing. And like when we made they wanted to interview me. Somebody reached out from the Daily Caller and they're like, we'd like to interview you. I'm like, let's not. Let's just not. You know what I mean? Somebody also sent in a request from like Love It or Leave It, that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, we want to interview you. I'm like, let's not. I interview myself for several hours. We're good. We're good. That's okay. And then they were like, well, you should do a video for us. I'm like, oh, I'm just independent. I just do independent videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. They're not bad kids, right? They're not. They're stupid because they're young and they don't realize that nothing they do matters. And I get it. I get wanting to be part of things. It's the job and it's fun and it's a convention and it's like, I mean, listen, when we do the convention, a real convention, a sales convention in Arizona at a Marriott for young entrepreneurs that want to get involved in a new company called Jules by podcaster Tim Dillon, I will show you what a real convention is. Okay? And it's not listening to Dan Crenshaw. I mean, can you stop? War is good. I mean, what is the message over there at CPAC? What is the message? Let's just get the last of Earth's resources and have a fun time doing it. What's the thesis statement of that group at this point? Healthcare's great. Shut the fuck up. Everybody's fine. If you have an issue, start a hedge fund. What's the thesis statement anymore of the group? You know? RuPaul's coming to kidnap your kids. Colin Kaepernick's dishonoring our honorable police who keep shooting black people in the face. Everybody I know in high school that grew up that used to bully retarded people is now a police officer. Everybody I know in high school used to spit in the face of retarded people, now has a gun. And we're all supposed to pretend that that's some type of coincidence. One guy I went to high school was like a baseball guy. A bunch of guys I went were going to be athletes, and that didn't work out. They got injured, and now they're cops. I'm sure they're not angry. I'm sure they're not mad at all. And listen, I'm just shitting on the conservatives because they had the conference. When the liberals had their conference, I mean, God only. People, identifying themselves by, what is your gender? You can have 9 name tags, your preferred gender, how far away someone has to stand when they talk to you in case you have a breakdown, the medications you're on so that you can leave your hotel room and function. How loud someone can be. Please don't clap near me. I mean, we saw the TSA thing where they were like, that's coming, and I'll shit on that when it's here. It's just, imagine, it would end my friendship with someone if they're like, I'm going to the political convention. What? Yeah, I want to go see Kimberly Guilfoyle Newsom. I want to hear her take. And they just get up there and they're like, socialism. What is Representative Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee think? What?
Was it not the Slayer who brought the demons to us?
That's the whole thing over there. But there's probably some really hot gay sex happening. It's just what it is. I guarantee you those grinder apps are going crazy. Because a lot of these very eloquent, articulate young men are gay. My friends are all straight. They're retarded. My friend, go get my friend and go ask Michael what he thinks about the global economy. I don't like weed. I like pussy and weed. That's what straight men sound like. For the most part. Not all of them. Not all of them. But young college dudes that are getting pussy, they're not reading, unless they're total sociopaths like Bill Clinton. And they want to just rape. This is what I mean. If you're that articulate and you get really excited, like you're on the speech and debate team and you get really excited, and you know, a lot of those guys are like, the moral fiber of America is being threatened. You're like, okay, you have cum coming out of your ears. The faggotry that is college debate about politics is like, it's just hilarious. So, like, we have to notice that. In the same way that these emaciated, far-left weirdos who can't even come because they're on SSRIs and too many other medications. They come dust, and they don't even have sex. They just hold somebody else and cry together and rub their genitals together until they get warm. It's just... How about we tell everyone under 25 to take a knee? Shut up! Vote. But go live a little. You don't have to be at the Gaylord Hotel listening to people. Vote. Do whatever you want. You know, but it's like, enough with the Gretas and this. Why I gotta get lectured by a 19-year-old who's a climate realist. She doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're 19. You don't know anything. You don't know that Hillary and Bill, you don't know how they got. That's why you start talking about the Bushes and Clintons. You're kind of in awe to a degree. I'm like, these little pieces of shit at CPAC, you think that's all it is? You think that's all it is to get on a fucking stage and say they're low taxes, they're good? No, you gotta kill people. You gotta kill people. Are you willing to kill people, you fraud? You gotta have private islands with blackmail operations set up. You gotta overthrow you gotta overthrow fucking democratically elected governments and install dictatorships, and you gotta do it all while you're dancing on Ellen. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what the sacrifice is really like. You fucking retard. You're getting up at CPAC. Socialism bad, capitalism good. You don't fucking know what you have to do. It's like these young comics who are like, I had a good set, why aren't I famous? Because you don't know what that you have to do. Billie Eilish is killing people out there, slitting drugs. She's a Mossad agent. That's what frustrates me. People are shitting on Hillary. You don't know what that bitch did. Kimberly Guilfoyle Newsom, you're a cheap whore.
Welcome,
Hillary's a real bad bitch. She's a real murderer. So I'm just saying, these kids don't know what it is. These millennial snowflake cunts whining about their student loans don't understand the work it takes to run this country. The dungeons, the blood, the narco trafficking. It's not just going and having a fun little debate at CPAC. And after you do all of that, and after you murder, and you kill, and you maim, and you torture, after you do all of that, you're still thrown in the street. After you do a Comedy Central special, and a Netflix special, and a pilot, and you have another show being produced by a big producer whose name I don't want to mention because I don't know if it'll work for me again, probably not, but whatever. The point is, you're still thrown in the street, Hillary or Tim, and what do you have to do? You have to start a podcast. So welcome, Miss Clinton. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is where we're all at, bitch. I know what it is. They say you're gonna get a certain amount of ads every show. You're not gonna fucking get them because they're lying. But you do a good job on the ads you have. You read that Blue Chew ad. You read that ad, bitch. You get them to buy the Ridge wallets, Hillary, because we're all in the same bag bowl of shit now. That's what it is. You were high on the horse, jet setting, arranging executions. You were doing it all. You were doing the most. And now, you're here with the rest of us. With the Legion of Skanks. With My Favorite Murder. With Cumtown. With myself. You're here with all of us. You're 3 years away from doing Skankfest. And you don't even know it. And those people open their arms to you. That's your new fan base, Hillary. Done with the global finance and the shadowy intelligence intrigue. Goodbye, international power brokers. Hello, Manscaped.
Excellent. Smash the heretic.
But that's what it is. Welcome to the show, Hillary. I, for one, welcome you. I think you've got a lot to say. I think it could be very interesting. Don't get a co-host. Do it on your own. Get good. Learn how to broadcast. Learn how to be personal. Build an empire. Like we're all trying to do. By podcasting. Because that's the only economy left. You understand? Welcome, Mrs. Clinton. I'm honored to have you as a colleague. And good luck.
Excellent. Smash the heretic.